Mr. Pop.
Welcome to Envy's Donuts, a podcast about everything, anything, and nothing in between. Hello, friends. We're back with the second part of our interview with Deedee Ash. The first one was just brilliant. Hello, Deedee. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good.
Well, is there anything that you want to share with us? Something that maybe changed the way you see the world, or something change in you, or have you had any personal epiphanies or personal experiences that you want to share with us?
You use the word epiphany there. That's the perfect word to describe it, really. I think what I've been struggling with as a not as an artist, quote unquote, but as a human, what I've been struggling with for well, my probably my entire life without realizing it is just finding that place. What's the best way to say it, really? The toll that it puts on you to find your place in society, if you like. There's so much emphasis, especially on kids. We put a ridiculous amount of emphasis on children to find their place in the world, to find their place in society. And honestly, I've been struggling with that for my entire life. It's made me not very well, honestly. That's the root of all the problems I've been having mentally. I guess what I've been struggling to deal with is to try and find my place in society. That's what's made me. That's what's encouraged me to bring all of this out, all of this creativity out. Is I've realized that you don't have to fit the mold, and that's kind of what I'm trying to express most of all through my music, through my poetry, through stories, whatever. Is that you don't have to fit a vocation. You don't have to define yourself in a way that's socially acceptable. You can just be yourself. I've had so much treatment over the last 5 years for depression and for social anxiety specifically. Like, just gearing up to do this interview is a massive deal for me, for somebody like me. I've been worrying about this for a couple of days now. It's part of the game. Like, it wasn't even just this. It was when I started taking my music seriously. I'm signed with a management company now, and they're very, very big on the whole social media thing and all this. And they're like, you really have to have a social media presence. And I've deliberately avoided all of that for 15 years now. I've deliberately not done that because it's so toxic and it's a horrible place. I mean, social media is the cause of so many millions of people's horrendous mental illnesses. Especially teenagers and young people. They really struggle with the sort of stuff that they see on social media, and I've deliberately avoided all of that because it's so horrendous to look at. But unfortunately, if you want to be a professional musician and you want that sort of worldwide presence, you have to deal with that. And I've kind of had to learn to differentiate the professional side of me with the personal side of me and not take all of that personally. Like, some of the stuff I've read about, oh, your music is trash, you should give up, you should kill yourself, all that sort of nonsense is horrendous. Nobody should have to read that sort of stuff.
Well, I was just thinking how it's very interesting how this music of yours is created from your angst inside and all the dark places you have in your mind, and then through music it kind of gives you back and helps you get over this type of things. It's just incredible. It's quite therapeutic, I think. and how music, not just through the actual music, through the fact that you have to be a professional musician and you connect with different people, it helps you get rid of some of your social anxiety. That's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, Andy, you've stumbled on the perfect word again. I don't know how you do this, but therapeusis, that's what it is. It's therapeutic to do this, Like my mental state has been disgusting the last 5 years, okay? I've gone through all sorts of therapy sessions and, doctor's appointments and all of this. And honestly, it's trash. All of it is just trash. It
Do
helps to talk
anything.
to people, but
Yeah.
honestly, you get some apathetic doctor on the end of the phone. They don't really care. They're just there to get a paycheck and all this sort of stuff. Not to disrespect medical professionals. I know they do a lot of great work, but
Yeah.
ultimately what I'm trying to say is if you want to fix your mental state, you have to do it yourself. And to the main thing I would tell anybody who's struggling with any kind of mental illness is find your outlet. I mean, I'm not saying everybody needs to be some virtuoso kind of creative genius or anything like that, but it could just be scribbling on a page. It could be screaming into the ocean. It could be just, singing at the top of your voice on your car journey home, It could
Yeah.
just be find your way to release all of that tension. And for me personally, it's writing depressive synthwave post-punk music or, you know, writing terrible poems that no one ever wants to publish. But like for everybody it's different. Just you have to just look at yourself and you have to be brutal with yourself and just think, look, find what means something to you and put all of your energy into that. Don't worry about the crap that your friends give you. Don't worry about the stress that your work gives you. Don't worry about any of that because it doesn't mean anything. Ultimately, other people don't mean anything, The people who are close to you, that's what's important. Your family, your friends, and yourself. Those are the three things that are important. And honestly, just find your catharsis, find your therapeusis, and just embrace it. And if that leads you to create a ton of music, I mean, look, the last 2 years for me have been very, very difficult. I've had a horrible time, you know, but at the same time, I have embraced every single day. And I've been like, look, I'm going to do something every day. I'm going to harness whatever horrible energy is thrown my way. I'm going to harness it. I'm going to turn it into some music. I'm going to draw it. I'm going to write about it. I'm going to create something from it that makes me feel better about myself. And if you've got it on the page, you write your feelings down, you write a song about it, you draw a picture about it, whatever. And then you can look at it a week later and be like, actually, this is not really anything, is it?
First, you have to realize that what the problem is or what you think the problem is, and
Hmm.
then once you realize it, then you have to find a way to deal with it, to trick yourself or to help yourself. That's because you are the closest person to yourself. Nobody else. It's not a
Yeah,
doctor, it's not your spouse, it's you. You are the most intimate person basically.
exactly. And I think that's a good way to put it, like it's really useful to make that initial step to talk to like a doctor or a therapist or even just a friend or whatever. Right? But ultimately, I mean, you've made that first step is the hardest step. So to call the GP or whatever and say, look, I'm suffering with this and this and this. Can you help me? That's the hardest step is to acknowledge that you have a problem. But then after that, you have to discover, and this is how I've sort of started to deal with it. I'm not out of the woods by any extent. I've got a long way to go, but I know that I'm on the right path. And it's you have to. I have a very, very dear friend of mine who, she's going through very similar things to me, and she's made that first step. She's spoken to the GPs. She's got medication to help her and stuff like that. But where I've sort of gone to the next step of recovery, if you like, of the therapeusis of getting it all out and the catharsis of writing it down and working with it and using it to be super creative. Because I mean, she's a super creative person as well. She's an absolutely brilliant writer, but she has zero energy and she just has zero drive. She doesn't have that internal energy to make herself do it. And I mean, I'm not really the person to encourage her to do it, but I want to be. I'm struggling with my own shit, and it's very, very difficult to push
Yeah.
somebody else up with me. I'm not at that point yet. I'd like to be. I'd like to get to the point where I can be like, look, I've done it. You can do it too. Come with me, kind of thing.
They have to be the first in line to help themselves, and then
Exactly.
they should have family and friends there for them, basically. But it
Yeah,
starts. It's like that famous Chinese proverb, I think. The journey of 10,000 steps start with one step. So I
it
think that
does.
it's just
It
amazing.
does.
Yeah.
It does. But I would add to that if I could, you know, step on an entire culture. But the first step is just that. It's just a step.
Yeah.
You can talk to your doctor and say, look, I'm depressed. I'm terrified of everything. I'm really struggling. But my experience in working in healthcare is that a lot of people stop there.
Yeah.
And that's not good enough. That isn't
Yeah.
good enough.
Go. Keep
You
going.
can't just
Yeah.
say, look, you can't just say, okay, I've got tablets. My, I've got my fluoxetine. I've got my whatever. I've got these tablets. I'm all right now. I've talked to my doctor. He's like, yeah, take these. You'll be fine. But that isn't enough.
Yeah.
Antidepressants or anxiolytics or whatever you want to call them, they're not enough. Those are they're a crutch that help you deal with the stuff in your head. They give you the tools you need to fix your problems. They don't fix your problems for you.
Yeah. Yeah. They help you take the next step. So they
Yeah,
help you. They'll keep you standing for one more step.
yeah.
Um.
Let's make an analogy, like say if you're a runner, right? So you're a long distance runner, whatever. You're doing a particularly tough marathon, and all of a sudden, like 20 miles in, you rip your ACL, yeah? Your cruciate ligament just pops,
Yeah.
right? You could sit on your couch and wait for it to heal, right? Or you could go to a doctor and you could be like, yeah, I'll give you some crutches or whatever, that's fine. The tablets are like, or the antidepressants, whatever you want to call them, those are the crutch. But
Yeah.
ultimately, the year-long worth of rehab that you have to do to fix your ligament problems, you have to do that yourself. A doctor can't do that for you. You have to discover what it is that makes you want to fix yourself. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what the music and the writing and all of that stuff is for me. It's like I'm happy to admit, and I will talk to anybody about it, that I take antidepressants every single day, and I have done for quite a while. Um, but they don't fix the problem. I don't think, well, I'm taking sertraline every day, I'm totally fine now. That's not the answer. That doesn't fix your issues. You have to do that yourself. I think that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. And that's why I'm being so creative, is because I force myself to say, look, this is not who I want to be. I want to be happy and I want to be cool with who I am.
Yeah. Definitely. Do you have a favorite quote?
Quote. Oh gosh. Yeah. It's not very well known at all. The Swedish prog metal band called Cloudscape, and they wrote a song. It's not even in their first language. Like, I don't even know if they realize how poignant the title of the song is, but they wrote a song called Every Day Is Up to You. And that's pretty much my favorite quote ever, is every single day when you wake up, it's like, okay, this day is mine to take how I want to take it.
Yeah,
You know,
brilliant.
every single day I live is up to me, regardless of whatever anybody else wants to throw at you. Make every single day your day. You know, and I try to make every single day. I try to do something that improves my life in some way. It could be a little thing. It could be writing a lyric, or it could be, telling my wife that I love her and she looks pretty, or it could, just do something that makes you and the people you care about better every single day.
Yeah,
That's just what I live by,
that's
basically.
brilliant.
Every day is
Well,
up to you.
well, we need to wrap this up. It was great having you. It was a really nice conversation. Deedee, are you present online where your band, your music, anything you want to share with us? Some websites we can search for your music?
Yeah, well, I've been told by my manager that I have to do it. So yes, I am on social media and all that stuff. The best place to go is my Linktree page. So it's link. Well, let me spell it because it's a pain. linktr.ee/preventer. And if you go on there, I've got my iTunes, my Bandcamp, my Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, everything is on there. Just
Oh,
go
that's
to Linktree/preventer. That's the best place to go, honestly. It's all on there.
brilliant. Right. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for accepting my invitation and talking to me.
Oh, absolutely, Andy. Thank you very much. It's great.
And hope to hear you again soon.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay,
Hopefully.
take care.
It's
Good
been
luck.
brilliant. Thanks, dude.
Good luck with your band.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, for listening. It was an enjoyable talk with Deedee Ash. Was amazing, great guy. See you next time. Take care. Thanks for listening. Bye.